made an incision just below the bird's breastbone. Wrenching my hand inside the hole, I pulled at the fat and entrails until they yanked loose. Yet as my hand freed the greasy viscera, my stomach churned in a familiar way. How could it be? I'd never heard of digestion troubles as a symptom of a woman's change. They were a symptom of— "No!" I said out loud, before making sure the boys weren't there to hear me. Of course, if they were there, they would merely assume I was speaking to them. It was the word I uttered most to my 3 sons. Shaking my head to force out unpleasant thoughts, I waited for the feeling to pass. It subsided a bit, and I fished out the entrails, placing them in a bowl. Deborah went to the new butcher the next block over, who cashied the chicken for her. But those chickens were 3 cents more a pound, and I had better things on which to spend my money. For 19 years, I'd been keeping a secret stash tucked in a tea tin at the bottom of my delicates drawer. Whenever I had spare change, it went into that tin. Just this morning, as I dropped a nickel in, I realized I had reached $90. If I had paid someone else to cashier my chickens, my tin would be empty. Besides, how could I trust someone else to cashier my meat properly? Some things must be done by oneself. Looking back at the chicken, I removed the liver from the gall. This was the most delicate step. The gall is not kosher, and if it broke, I wouldn't be able to use the liver. This was one of the most important duties of being a wife, and I had no idea how Dottie was going to manage it when she made her own home with Abe. So many things Dottie never learned. Chasing her father around, looking after her brothers, daydreaming with her fashion magazines. Yet, lack of cashiering skills aside, Dottie had done well for herself, working in Midtown with all those numbers. A bookkeeper was a respectable job. Dottie would do something with her life. It was for her I saved my pennies. But still, a woman also had to know how to keep a home. Although, at the pace Abe moved, there was time to teach her before he proposed. I dumped the entrails in a pan and covered them with water. These would sit until after Shabbos, when I would use them to flavor the stew I would make on Sunday for the coming week. The head I would save to make a soup, but for now I took the chicken and let it soak so I could sit and enjoy my cup of tea and the morning mail. I had a letter from my brother Yusel I was anxious to read. This was my only moment to myself, when Ben was at work at the garage, Dottie at her office, and the boys had been shooed off to play. On most mornings I'd sit at the table, spread open the Vorwärts, the daily Yiddish paper, and consume the news as if it were a morning snack. But when I had a letter from family, it was as if I had a feast. Using a table knife, I gingerly slit open the envelope, not wanting to rip even a single word. Pulling out the thick sheet of paper, I smiled at the still childish scrawl in which my baby brother wrote. The Yiddish lines slanted downward, as if trying to escape the page. No one would know, looking at this writing, that Yusel was a learned man of 33 years. A glance at the top told me the letter was written less than 3 weeks ago. The mail moved quickly these days. "Dearest sister," the letter began, "at the outset, I can write you that Gerda, the children, and I are healthy, and we are hoping to hear good things from you and to see each other in good health. I received your letter Friday morning and read with pleasure that you are well. I am pleased to hear of your work with the Women's Committee of the Socialist Party, a worthy cause to support, but I beg of you, please do not worry so for us." Yusel wasted too much time on pleasantries. I brushed my hand across the creases of the paper, trying to make the words easier to read, but the sweat on my arm blurred the ink. Alarmed, I blotted the page and dried myself.